"Excuse me, I don't recognize you. This is private property." That's how my evening started. Not with dinner or a shower or the game I wasn't going to admit I cared about, but with a woman in a laminated badge blocking my own front steps, while a guy in a faded security jacket clicked pictures of my face like I'd wandered off a tour bus. I set my grocery bags on the hood, hit my garage opener, watched the door rise on the basketball I never put away, and the boxes labeled winter coats. And I said, as even as I could manage, "I live here." She smiled, like the DMV on a bad day, and told me residents only. Name's Marcus Reed Riverton. Ohio Quiet Street, quiet life, and a job that keeps me out of everybody's way. At least that's the version my neighbors know. The real one is Special Agent IRS criminal investigation, mortgage, and property schemes, the kind of fraud that hides behind paper and polite voices. So when Pamela Sutter Fox Hollow HOA president decided I didn't belong in my own driveway, the part of me that wants to go loud had to sit in the back seat, while the part of me that knows the power of a clean record hit my phone and pressed record. Dale, her self-appointed safety liaison, kept snapping pictures. Click, click. And a couple of porches filled up because nothing draws a crowd like other people's business. You know what I mean? You know. Next morning, there was an envelope on my porch, thick enough to stop a fan blade. Violations for edging a trash bin, visible for 2 minutes too long. An overnight parking issue featuring my own car and my favorite non-compliant facade ornamentation, which I guess means my doormat isn't the approved shade of forest green. The letterhead tried to look like a court order, and the typos tried to do the opposite. I laughed once, made coffee, then stared at the part of me that wanted to move just to make it all quiet again. That part didn't win. Because I've seen this movie in conference rooms and basements with bad printers. Harassment becomes policy, policy becomes gospel, and the 1,000 tiny needles wear you down until you forget you own your space. So I did what I do. I wrote everything down. Timestamped, backed it up twice, didn't play defense, built a case. By day 3, orange survey stakes poked out of my yard like a kindergarten treasure hunt. Fluorescent tape zigzagging between them. Dale measuring air with a tape and announcing pending boundary correction, while Pamela stood behind him like a mayor about to cut a ribbon. I took photos from the window, the little red LED on my door, cam pulsing in the reflection like a heartbeat, and told myself, let them keep building the file. Then night 4, a camera appeared where no camera should be, on a metal pole at the edge of my lawn, pointed straight at my door. No notice, no permit, and definitely no common sense. Here's the punchline. The bargain camera had a default upload setting to our neighborhood app, the same one we use to post lost dogs and fireworks rants. So while Pamela thought she'd launched a spy ring, the entire block got a feed of her crouched behind my hydrangeas with binoculars, and Dale trying to hide behind a trout-shaped mailbox. Yeah, that happened. Mrs. Kibas Alvarez's grandson Jordan, a hoodie for every day of the week, and a brain that moves like Wi-Fi, pinged me with screenshots from a private thread called Standards Team. My photo circled notes like individual of interest, and monitoring pattern begins 6:40 a.m. Lists of visitor plates, a tally of how many days I wore the same navy jacket. The language tiptoed around the word race like it was a puddle. They didn't want to step in, but the shape was the shape. I saved every pixel, emailed the county under an alias about survey permits, attached photos with coordinates, labeled a folder Fox Hollow, evidence, and backed it up twice, because that's what you do when the story is about to tell on itself. A week and an invitation arrived. Emergency covenant review, embossed like a wedding invite for people who married their love of control. Thursday, 7 p.m., the clubhouse. I walked into courtroom cosplay, a gavel name, placards, folding chairs scraping the floor. Dale shushing like a church usher. Pamela arranging color tabs like trophies. She called the meeting to order, used my name like it was a curse, and tossed up blurry app screenshots like exhibits, A through Z. I let her talk then. I asked the only questions that matter when paper is pretending to be law. What municipal authority gives you the power to hold a hearing affecting my property rights? And where is the certified boundary survey backing your stakes? She tried bylaws and covenants and community standards. I asked about the boundary improvement fee, $125 per house collected for a year to prep for professional surveying. Which firm, which licensed surveyor of record? Phones came out. Faces tilted down. The air changed. You could feel it the second a story stops holding together. Pamela's voice climbed a rung, and she pivoted to the accusation that wouldn't die. Could I prove I was a lawful occupant of the property? That's the twist right in the middle, where a story flips its gravity. I set my credentials on the table, IRS, criminal investigation name badge. No flourish, no mic drop. Just the truth laid down like house keys. And I asked if federal identification met her evidentiary standards. Dale forgot how jaws close. Someone whispered. 30 phones woke up all at once. Pamela tried the line about federal employees not being above rules. And I nodded because that part's true. Which is exactly why filing false charges and planting surveillance without permits turns into a mess with paperwork and consequences. She threatened a restraining order. People actually laughed. Not cruel, just tired. The next day, Mrs. Alvarez came through my back gate, carrying a manila envelope like it weighed more than it did. Jordan had recovered deleted files from a shared HOA drive, and the rot was printed in 12-point Times New Roman. Emails with subject lines like, maintaining standards against undesirable elements, spreadsheets rating households by fit templates for noise after dusk. You could drop a child's name into a step-by-step for boundary adjustments that read like instructions for a slow theft. I've stared at bank records and dead LLCs for 15 years and still had to sit down, because this wasn't a spat. It was a machine that politely pushed certain people out and pretended it was order. Saturday morning, the hearing video hit the internet. HOA president holds fake court, gets schooled by federal agent, and legal TikTok did what legal TikTok does. Pausing the clip to teach bylaws. It's orgs, threading housing discrimination in plain English. A state rep retweeting with the phrase, "This is why oversight matters." City code enforcement unscrewed the illegal camera. The county clerk emailed my alias that no survey permits existed. The Attorney General's office requested statements about potential discriminatory practices under color of HOA authority. Those are the nouns that make people sit up straight. You could feel the neighborhood shift. The men who'd crossed the street started nodding again. The ladies held my eye a beat longer. Not love recognition, like the room finally made sense. Pamela tried one last emergency meeting to restore order, and it turned into a reckoning. The clubhouse packed wall to wall. Mrs. Alvarez read the emails out loud, clear and steady. People gasped the way you do when the magician shows you the trick, and it's uglier than you hoped. Jordan ran the projector and flipped through the standards team chat. My photo circled a calendar of my daily exits, a list of homes labeled monitor. Someone yelled, "What if this was your kid?" Someone else said, "It already was." And then the quiet rebellion got physical, in the gentlest way. Orange stakes came up by the dozen. The laminated boundary map got peeled off and torn into snow. Code enforcement took down the pole while live streams rained hearts. Pamela aimed for a dramatic exit and tripped over her own fallen stake. The room laughed, a spell snapped, and for the first time in months, the air felt like it belonged to all of us again. Within a week, certified letters landed words like investigation and disparate treatment and fraudulent assessment. Sharing paragraphs with Pamela's name board members resigned. Others apologized in the language of people who realized too late what they'd been part of. A moving truck arrived under a gray sky, and neighbors watched from porches and didn't cheer because relief is quieter. A few waved because Midwestern manners die hard. Did I feel triumphant? On paper, sure, the charges matter. The city tweaks to policy matter. But the thing that sticks is Ms. Alvarez in my driveway. After the last stake came out saying, "I'm sorry." I didn't speak sooner. And me telling her I've kept quiet in rooms where my voice would have helped because we all have a corner where we're softer than we want to admit. The garden looks bigger without orange lines slicing it. Kids ride scooters through driveways that feel like driveways again. Jordan still fixes my Wi-Fi on Saturdays and empties my snack drawer, and I still wave like a dad. Because maybe that's who I am when the evidence bag is off my shoulders. So here's the question I'm leaving you with. Where's the line between protecting a neighborhood and policing who gets to belong, who draws it, who keeps the pen honest? If you've dealt with an HOA that got it right, or one that went off the rails, I want to hear it. If you think I should have flashed the badge on day one, say so. If you think the badge shouldn't matter at all, say that louder. Drop your take in the comments. Tell me what you've seen push back if you need to. And if this hit home, tap subscribe and share it. Because the only boundary we can't let anyone move is the one between the loudest lie and the truth we stand in together.